Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that sounds, well, almost laughably simple. Giving money away.
Right. What could be easier?
Exactly. But what if it's a registered charity giving money to another registered charity? Suddenly, it's not so simple anymore. It gets surprisingly complex.
It really does.
Many people probably think, hey, they're both charities, both doing good work. Money should flow easily, right? But actually, wrong. It can be quite tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to do a deep dive into this. We're looking at designated gifts and spending rules in Canadian charity law. We want you to walk away feeling, really informed, maybe with a few surprising facts.
And it's important to understand these aren't just random bureaucratic hurdles. These rules are there for a reason. They're designed to make sure the money genuinely helps the intended cause and keeps everything accountable. Think of it like this, maybe. Giving $5 to your kid's lemonade stand. Simple. No problem. But if you own, say, a big company and want to give a large sum to your sister's new business, well, there are going to be rules, especially with that family connection. It's similar with charities. It's about ensuring things are done properly.
That makes sense. It combats that idea of, oh, it's all for charity, must be okay. But you're saying good intentions aren't always enough. Why is it so complicated sometimes?
Exactly. The intention is usually great, but the rules exist to prevent potential abuse and ensure accountability, to make sure money gets used for the public good, not just, shuffled around.
Right.
And in Canada, we have this specific tool called a designated gift. It's basically a way to handle certain transfers, particularly between connected charities, to make sure everyone's playing by the rules and meeting their obligations.
Okay, so connected charities, that sounds key. How do we figure out when these special rules apply? What's the starting point?
That's the absolute first step. You have to look at the relationship between the two charities. Are they arm's length or non-arm's length?
Arm's length. Like strangers.
Pretty much. Totally independent. Think McDonald's and Subway. Both sell food, but they have zero connection, right? No shared control, no shared board members, completely separate.
Got it.
Non-arm's length is where it gets interesting and where these special rules really matter. This means the charities are connected somehow.
How so?
Well, it could be formal.
Yeah.
Maybe they share some board members. Or it could be less formal, like if close family members are running both charities.
Ah, okay.
Any kind of connection like that, direct or indirect, it flags the situation.
Yeah.
It means any money moving between them needs special attention under the rules.
Sure.
Because, the potential for issues is just higher.
Right, potential conflicts, or maybe the money not being used quite as independently.
Yeah.
Let's make this really clear with an example. How about we imagine, say, the Johnson Foundation?
Okay, yeah, a scenario helps.
So let's say Sarah starts at the Johnson Foundation. She's passionate, gets it going, and maybe she puts her 3 daughters on the board, family affair,
Makes sense.
Got it.
Common situation.
Then, a few years later, one daughter, Emma, gets inspired and starts her own charity. Maybe it's related to the foundation's work, but separate.
Okay, so now we have Sarah's foundation and Emma's new charity.
Yes. So in this case...
Right there, that's a clear non-arm's length relationship, instantly. Because Emma is Sarah's daughter, and they're both involved in running these charities.
Because of the family tie.
Exactly. That direct family connection means any money Sarah's foundation gives to Emma's charity, it automatically triggers these special rules we're talking about. It's not just a simple donation between two separate groups anymore.
Okay, and that leads to what you call the spending problem.
Precisely. This is crucial. When one charity, like Sarah's, gives a regular gift, meaning not a designated one, to a non-arm's length charity, like Emma's,
Yeah.
Emma's charity has to spend all of that money, every cent, and they have to do it within 2 years of the end of the year they received it. With a hard deadline.
Wow. Okay, I can see how the amount would matter hugely there. Like if Emma's charity usually spends, say, $500,000 a year,
A typical operating budget for her size.
and Sarah's foundation gives her, I don't know, $10,000, that seems fine. Emma can probably spend that extra $10K easily within her normal activities over a year or two. No big deal.
Exactly. Totally manageable. Absorbed without much issue.
But what if Sarah's foundation is much bigger and they decide to give Emma's charity, say, $50 million?
Now that is a big problem, a huge problem.
Because Emma's still operating on roughly $500 a year.
Right. And suddenly she's got this legal requirement to spend $50 million, 100 times her normal budget, in just a couple of years.
That sounds almost impossible to do well. You'd either waste it or just couldn't spend it.
It's incredibly difficult. It could force really inefficient spending or, like you said, leave massive amounts unspent, which kind of defeats the purpose of the donation and breaks the rule.
So what on earth does Emma do? This sounds like a massive headache, potentially disastrous even. How can they possibly manage that kind of money under that pressure?
Well, this is exactly where the designated gift comes in as the solution. It's how Sarah's foundation can help Emma's charity avoid that crazy spending pressure.
How does that work, practically?
It's actually quite simple on the donor's end. Sarah's foundation just needs to formally mark the gift as designated when they file their annual information return with the government, their T3010 form.
Okay, like ticking a box.
Essentially, yes. It flags it for the CRA. And the huge benefit for Emma's charity, that 2-year spending rule we just talked about, it doesn't apply to the designated money.
So Emma gets breathing room.
Exactly. She gets flexibility. She can plan how to use that large sum much more thoughtfully over a longer period, which is usually much better for the charity's mission.
But there's got to be a catch, right? A trade-off.
There is, yes.
Oh.
It falls on Sarah's side, the donor. When Sarah's foundation makes that gift designated, they cannot count that amount towards meeting their own annual spending requirement, what we call the disbursement quota.
Okay. So Sarah gives Emma flexibility, but Sarah doesn't get credit for that spending right away in terms of her own charity's obligations.
Correct. It balances things. Flexibility for the receiver, but the donor charity still needs to meet its own spending targets through other means, like its regular programs or non-designated gifts.
That makes sense. It prevents charities from just designating everything to connected groups to avoid their own spending rules, but it also sounds like they could be clever about this, use a mix.
Oh, absolutely. This is where strategic planning comes in. Charities can and often should use a mix of designated and regular gifts, especially in these non-arm's length situations.
Okay, how would that work? Let's say Sarah wants to give Emma $100,000.
Right. So Sarah could decide to designate, say, $50,000.
Oh.
That $50K gives Emma's charity the flexibility for maybe a longer-term project or building capacity. No 2-year deadline on that part.
Okay.
Then Sarah could leave the other $50,000 as a regular, undesignated gift.
So Emma would need to spend that $50K within the 2 years?
Correct.
Yeah.
But that might be manageable for her. And critically, Sarah's foundation does get to count that undesignated $50,000 towards its own spending requirement for the year.
I see. So it's a way to balance Emma's need for time with Sarah's need to meet her own charitable obligations. Smart.
Very much so. It allows for tailored support while ensuring both charities are fulfilling their legal duties.
Now, you mentioned these rules are taken seriously. What happens if, say, Emma's charity receives a regular gift, non-designated, and just doesn't spend it in time?
The consequences are severe. Honestly, quite shocking for many people when they first hear it.
Okay.
If a charity gets a regular gift from a non-arm's length source and fails to spend it all within that time frame, the penalty is 110% of the amount that was left unspent.
Wait, 110% more than the amount itself?
Yes, 110%. And that's not all. On top of that massive financial penalty, the charity could actually lose its registered charity status altogether.
Wow. Okay, that's serious. Losing status is basically game over for a charity.
It really is.
So let's use our example again. If Emma got $1 million as a regular gift from Sarah's foundation, and she managed to spend, say, $800,000 within the 2 years, but $200,000 was left over.
Okay.
The penalty would be 110% of that unspent $200,000, which is $220,000.
Exactly right. They'd owe the government $220,000 just for not spending that last $200K on time. It's incredibly punitive.
No kidding. It really underscores why understanding designated gifts is so critical if you're dealing with non-arm's length transfers.
Absolutely. It's not an optional detail. It's fundamental risk management.
So given how high the stakes are, what other key questions should charities be asking themselves before they even make these kinds of gifts, especially when they know they're non-arm's length?
That's a great point. Beyond just designated or not, there's some deeper thinking required. Charities should ask, first, are we actually allowed to give money for this specific purpose under our own charitable registration? Does it fit our mission?
Right, basic compliance.
Second, and this is a big one, are we just acting as a conduit? Are we essentially passing money through just to help the other connected charity meet their spending rules or avoid restrictions? It looks really bad to regulators.
Yeah, that sounds like trying to game the system.
It does. And third, are we, as the donor, maintaining direction and control over how these funds are used? Or are we essentially handing over control to the receiving charity? You need to show you're still stewarding your charity's resources responsibly.
So it's about legality, intent, and control, making sure the transfer is genuine and serves the donor's charitable purpose too.
Precisely. Asking those tough questions up front can prevent major problems down the road.
Okay, so wrapping this part up, the big takeaway seems to be giving money between charities. Not always simple, especially if they're connected, non-arm's length.
That's the core message. Good intentions are vital, obviously. You absolutely have to know and follow the rules.
And the government's reason for all this complexity.
It really boils down to ensuring accountability and impact. They want charitable dollars actively working for the public benefit, not just circulating between related entities or sitting unused. It's about maintaining public trust.
Which means, really, for anyone listening who's involved with a charity on a board, as staff, even a key volunteer, you absolutely need to check these rules before making large gifts to other charities.
Especially if there's any kind of connection, familial or structural. Due diligence isn't just advisable, it's essential.
What a fascinating look under the hood. I think many of us started out thinking this was straightforward, but the nuances around non-arm's length and designated gifts, it's quite something. Definitely a few aha moments there for me.
It often surprises people. But understanding it helps appreciate the framework that exists to protect charitable assets. In a world with so much information flying around, digging into these specific rules shows how carefully even something like charity is structured. It protects public trust, ensures accountability, and ultimately aims to maximize the good that charities can do. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does this level of detail tell us about the responsibility that comes with handling money meant for the public good?
That's a great question to ponder. And of course, if this discussion has sparked more questions for you, or if you're involved with a charity facing these kinds of situations, well, you don't have to figure it all out alone.
Absolutely not. Getting expert advice is often crucial here.
So, to learn more, or if you have specific questions about designated gifts, non-arm's length rules, or really any aspect of charity law in Canada, you can visit charitylawgroup.ca. The team there consists of experienced charity lawyers who live and breathe this stuff, and they can definitely provide the answers you need.
Good resource to have.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you feel a bit more clued in on the sometimes surprising world of charity giving.
Thanks for having me. It was a great chat.